Good afternoon. I know it's already 12:15, 12:20. When I'm a bit hungry, so I believe I would wrap this up as soon as possible. Thought my task would be a bit Herculean, but then I had ma'am come in and talk about a bit of leadership styles, and you have those enthusiastic employers, the ones who want to leave. And in between that talk, she did mention about a team leader or the manager who needs to identify the ones who have to be picked up so that they can be retained in an organization. So I think I'll just start off from there. The topic which was selected was exploring the impact of leadership styles on employees and on the performance of employees. Now, what I would be going through are the few dominant ones. Now, we will look into what a leadership style is. We will look into the main 5, 6, or 7 types of leadership styles. Now, there are over 10. I will not be looking into all of them, but we would give an honorary mention to them towards the end of the presentation. Now, what is a leadership style? Leadership plays a crucial role in shaping the culture and the success of any organization. That I'm sure absolutely each and every one of you would agree with me on that. But have you ever wondered what makes a good leader, or how different leadership styles can impact the employees in various ways? Now, said earlier, we will dive into in a bit of details rather than just with a few examples. Each slide would take around 15-20 seconds at tops. Now, understanding different leadership styles is crucial for not just for the top management, but also for the employees. I will reiterate it. Understanding and identifying the type of leaders equally important for the top management as well as for the employees, because we'll have to mend our ways and methods as our leader is. Right? So moving on. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I think I messed up. Yeah, I'm back. The questions which I believe you would be able to answer for yourself by the end of the presentations would be, what sort of a leader am I? Now, why is it important for me to understand these various styles, and how do I adapt into a different leadership styles, or how do I adapt myself, or how do I see my top management, or how does the top management see the rest of the employees, and the impact of leadership on the company. Now, why I say company in a healthcare conference for QPMPA is because maybe 40 years ago, when my mom was working in Toronto Medical College, it was a hospital. 20 years ago, it became a healthcare industry. Now, these days, they're called as service industries. Right, so ma'am did mention about the quality of working rather than the work experience and the service to the community. Now the employees are looking for the quality of life and work experience. So that's why I've used the term company over here. Moving to the first one, an autocratic leader. Such a leader leads to a lack of creativity and innovation, as employees may feel that they are discouraged from sharing their ideas or taking risks. However, in certain situations, in crisis and emergencies, an autocratic leader is mandatory. For example, would you be able to give me an example where an autocratic leader would be the best individual possible? I know it's lunchtime, but come on, some sort of feedback would be good. The armed forces, where following directions to the T is absolutely necessary for the accomplishment of the mission or the task at hand. Moving along, a democratic leader. Such a leader lead to an increased employee engagement and motivation, and they feel valued and heard. However, it can also result in slower decision making, because the leader believes that he needs to take in every employee's opinions, and he's at the confusion at the end of the day, thinking that, okay, if I take that decision based on that employees, will the other employee get offended or not? Now, this is that's happened with a democratic leader. Now, this has a positive side too. This shows that the manager values the team's opinions and want to make an informed decision that the task everyone thought into and their thoughts into account. The laissez-faire leadership. Now, such sort of leadership is that he's basically a hands-off approach of a guy. Now, in this sort of a leadership is where you do not have to give much of supervision to your colleagues. Now, because why? Because you're a highly skilled team. You do not have to be hovering over their heads or be a helicopter leader. They know what they're doing. They know they know the goals. They know the benchmarks. They know what is expected of them. So a laissez-faire leader, this is the positive side. The negative side, what happens is, it creates a sense of uncertainty and a lack of accountability for the leader, and the employees will start looking at the leader that he's asking us to do most of the work. Now, what is he accountable for? Now, at this juncture, I would like to bring up three words: delegation, responsibility, and accountability. As a leader, you can delegate your work to your employees. That becomes their responsibility, but it never becomes, or you can never hold them accountable for the same, because at the end of the day, you are accountable for it. What is seen in many industries is that once a responsibility is being handed over, the leader, if anything goes wrong, that person is sued or pinned against the wall. Now, that should never be done. There's a probability that in a laissez-faire leadership, such sort of lack of confusion or accountability and delegation may go into a lot of issues. A transformation leader looks really good on paper, but myself included, I don't think I'm a transformation leader. I'm a mix of a lot of things as and when what the situation rises. Now, this type of leader, he or she focuses on developing the employee skills, abilities, and encourages them to take ownership of their work, right? They are passionate about their vision. They are in absolute line. Now, like ma'am already had mentioned, this is a sort of a leader who is an efficient stayer, or he's happy to stay. He's been there with the organization for such a long time that he is considered as an asset to the organization, right? Do we have any mic issues? Okay, we're good, right? They inspire the followers to share this vision, they work towards achieving it together. Now, by empowering their employees and fostering a sense of teamwork, a transformation leader can have significant impact on employees' engagement and their productivity. At the other end of the spectrum, we have a transactional leader. Now, transactional leader believes in achieving specific goals. He would reward the ones who would achieve those goals and reprimand the ones who does not. Now, I do not believe this works in healthcare. This is an absolute no-go in healthcare, but we do see such sort of transactional leaders. Right, so this is an area which we should never try to be or emulate to be or even ever dream of, to being a transactional leader. A situational leadership. Now, most of us are situational leaders because there is no one size which fits all. For example, if an employee is new to task, we would be a bit more hands-on. If an employee is experienced and skilled, we would be a bit hands-off. So situational leadership is something which we should emulate to be, or which we should think about emulating in our daily lives. By adapting their leadership styles to the situation, such sort of a leader can support the employees and help them reach their full potential. At this point, when you say full potential, if an employee is performing well, you do not add on more responsibilities on their head. You should create an environment so that you can promote their work and let them grow. Right. Now, if you have a good team, it's good. Now, ma'am was, a beautiful lady was kind enough to give my description. I'm the clinical microbiologist. I'm the head of infection control. I'm also the quality manager. Now, what makes me a situational good leader is, as the head of infection control, I work with 716 team members. They're the best that I know of. As a quality manager, I work with a team of 40. And as infection control, I work with a team of 4. They are skilled employees. I take usually a bit of hands-off approach, but as and when the situation arises, they know that I am there to back them up. Okay. Now, which leadership style is best suited for me? Like in the situational leadership, there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Autocratic leadership, for example, can be effective in situations where a quick decision has to be made. But on the other hand, a democratic leader can foster a sense of teamwork, and a laissez-faire team leader can be the best person to take a step back and let the skilled workers do their work, because you may not be an expert as they are. They know all the nuances which needs to be done as far as the work is concerned. A situational leader will be a guide, will be an older brother, older sister to the new employees, guide them, promote them, let them know what is expected of them. Like ma'am mentioned, there are 8 things which is mandatory for somebody who joins Kim's Health to be. They have to undergo the mandatory training and be audited. So such sort of leadership is what is expected. I mean, that is what the type of leader which one should emulate to be. Now, importance of understanding the leadership styles. Why do you think importance of understanding leadership style is? It is crucial for both the leaders and employees, right? It allows them to work together more effectively and achieve common goals. Now, if an employee understands that their manager has an autocratic leadership style, they may be more prepared for a top-down decision-making process. On the other hand, if a leader understands the team responds well to democratic leadership, they may be able to delegate more tasks and empower their team members. It smoothens, or it brings about, there is the one which we call, I don't know, I don't know if the term is still used. Red tapeism, is it still used? We call it bureaucratic tapes where we work. If we send something upstairs and then there are other department heads who do not agree with it, we call them bureaucratic tapes. Empowering the team members is equally important for understanding. If once you get to understand what sort of a leader you are or what sort of a leader your employees need you to be, and help individuals develop their own leadership skills. This is, at the end of the day, what we have to look into. How do you make your subordinates or the ones working with you or for you develop their own leadership skills, which at the end of the day will meet the key performance indicators or the benchmarks of your organization. Now, the impact of leadership styles of a company culture. Different leadership styles can have different impact on a company culture. For example, an autocratic leader will make all the decisions for the rest of the employees, including the top managers who are the experts in the respective fields, which will create an environment of fear and resentment. On the other hand, a democratic leader will foster a culture of teamwork and innovation. At the same time, what happens is, if you have the same team members or the team leaders in your team as top management, what happens is that your point of view becomes like this. You need someone who can think outside the box too. So bring in a wild card once in a while. Maybe, see, once you're in a job for 20 years, 30 years into the job, 15 years into the job, you do get pinpoint vision at some point of time. So bring in the freshest of the freshest guys. They might be the wild card. They might come up with something which we haven't even thought about. So this is the impact of different leadership styles. Now, excuse me, we've talked about the okay guys or the good guys. Now there are a couple of others which we said that we will do an honorary mention. The peace setter. Such an individual works within a toxic team. He spends most of his time trying to make peace between the two teams. Are the teams productive? Absolutely. Because what is usually observed is a high performance team are usually a bit eccentric. They have the different spectrum of emotions, and to get all the team members. All right, 3 minutes, 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Okay. Right. And then we have the P setters. We have a coach. Uh, Once we talked about these guys, now we need to talk about the toxic tyrants. These are the individuals one never should be. We've had teachers like them in school, but I don't think in the healthcare industry such sort of individuals have any place. I'll just jump directly into the ones. The micromanager, he's an individual who would closely monitor all the performances. He would dictate how each step should be done. Like if you're walking to the wall to put the switch on, he would dictate that. Now, what happens is there is a high attrition within such departments where we have micromanagers, and they refuse to delegate and take responsibility of their actions. The narcissistic leader. The narcissistic leader would prioritize his own importance. Now, if I have to give an example, it would be a few years back, the CEO, Enron CEO Jeff Skilling and Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes, they came out with products which absolutely did not work, but they fought against the FDA tooth and nail. And as of right, I mean, presently, I don't know about their whereabouts, but they have been. I believe they've. I think the entire company shut down, and nobody works there anymore. I believe this is in US. So narcissistic leader, someone who uses intimidation, inflates a sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, which means that he believes that all the employees owe him or her. They are there, their existence is because of him. That is not the way the world works, that should not be the way an organization works. The bully. We've had bullies in school, we've had bullies in professional colleges, but this is such an individual we should never have in any organization. What he uses intimidation, fear, and aggression to control their team. He shouts, he barks, he comes up with false claims or false narratives, which he passes up the chain of the ladder, passes up the chain of command, and at the end of the day, even when we have an employee who is willing to stay, he or she would ultimately leave because the working environment is absolutely toxic. The incompetent leader, ma'am came across this. When the department head or the leader himself or herself is not aware of what needs to be done, that creates a lot of confusion for the employees. Do not or never hesitate to ask for help. It is not derogatory to yourself or to your connections to ask for help if you do not know something. The fearmonger, leader who uses fear. Now, I will not go into the details of this. This is quite simple. What he does is use threats, intimidations, and he also, what they would do is they would stifle creativity and innovation. Now, what would you think that in healthcare, what sort? Okay. Right. Just leave fearmonger as it is. The passive aggressive individual is someone who would not call you names on your face, but he would go about behind your back. Okay. The short-sighted leader is someone who I have to talk about short-sighted leader. A short-sighted leader is someone who even if when an opportunity is presented to him or her, he will not see it. The best example was the Blockbuster CEO John Antico, who believed that videotapes and DVDs will be the future, and he did not take up the Netflix offer for $15 million back in the year 2000, which is now a $50 billion industry. I'll just skip the next slide and I'll jump to the last one. I leave this message from Socrates. Now, he who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader. Thank you. And I believe I've caught us some issues in between with the time. I wish I had more time. So, thank you.